Can you just help us understand the seismic shift that would occur if they do a 180 and say, we're back?
It's simply indescribable, Zubin. I mean, we're talking about a league that on August 11th shut down, and then a week later, the commissioner, Kevin Warren, said, we're done. It was absolute. There was no mystery about what was going on there, and since then, it has been an unmitigated chaos. I will say that if they come back, it will help mitigate some of the damages. But here's the most interesting thing. I mean, this story started percolating over the weekend. We thought there would be an announcement on Sunday. We are now, 8:10 Eastern time, Tuesday morning. We still don't know. And for them to be eligible for the college football playoff, they need to start by October 17th. I mean, they're burning minutes and hours that are precious to this league right now. So, I mean, I really don't know exactly what the holdup is, except one more thing. There's some conversation that 3 or 4 of the schools don't want to play, period. And the league, I think, is trying to figure out, can we come back with 8 or 9 schools and leave a few at home, or are we just going to have to do a no vote again? I mean, it's watching this in real time. I mean, you hear all the cliches about watching sausage made. This is much worse than that.
Watching sausage made. Hey, Paul, out west, obviously, in my conference, they are a Pac-12 conference, aggressively trying to figure out how to get things back on track in late November. How will that affect the Big Ten and as well as the playoffs?
Keyshawn, with all due respect to your wonderful conference,
I knew you was going to say something slick. I knew you was going to say something
Nobody
slick.
really cares. I mean, the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is simply operating on a different time scale. They cannot make it back in time for the playoff, and some of it is legitimate. I mean, they have a lot. We all know there are serious problems in California right now. That if the Ohio State-Oregon game was supposed to be at Oregon over the weekend, that game could not have been played because of the wildfire situation. So, I mean, there are serious issues that they have to deal with in addition to COVID. There's some ordinances out there in 3 or 4 states that would, I think, still preclude, amazingly, college football from going on, even though we all know pro football continues to exist out there. They're not going to be a part of the playoff. If they come back by Thanksgiving, they can at least play some semblance of a season, but they are really not part of this other conversation with the Big Ten.
Paul, really bad weekend for the Big 12. 3 losses to Sun Belt teams. With the advantage of home crowds gone, is this the new norm that we will see in college football?
It could be. One thing about the first weekend of the season, usually you will see some surprising games, Jay, because a lot of teams just don't take the other one seriously. What I can't understand is this, and I'm begging all of you to help me out, especially the teacher there in the cardigan sweater, because he's so smart and he has a Rutgers degree. I can't wait for the classics lesson today from Professor Zubin. Here's the deal. Les Miles, remember him? He was at LSU and won a national championship, primarily with Nick Saban's talent, I might add. He opened last season against Coastal Carolina and lost. He opened this season against Coastal Carolina and lost. I mean, usually when you lose to a team in a game a year ago, you figure out a way to maybe beat them in the revenge game. In 13 games, he's lost twice to the same school. And while Coastal Carolina, I think they won the national championship in baseball a couple of years ago. They have a really good athletic department. That should not be a fair fight between Coastal and Kansas. So I'm at a loss to explain Les Miles. The Iowa State game was really a surprise because this is a team that many thought could make a run for the Big 12 championship. And then the other game, Kansas State, a once great power under Bill Snyder, losing to Arkansas State. And there were a lot of COVID issues in all these games, but still, the Big 12 losing 3 games to the Sun Belt Conference. It's really interesting. The Sun Belt is a really good conference. I talked to Billy Napier yesterday, who is the Louisiana coach who went to Iowa State, and just keep your eye on him. I mean, he was offered a couple of jobs last year, one in particular in the SEC. he'll be up for a lot of big jobs this year. He's a former Nick Saban assistant coach, so really an interesting story developing down there in Lafayette.
Let me ask you this, though, Paul. I know you know Les Miles very well, long-time SEC guy, obviously. Does he regret taking that Kansas job that's like a doormat for everybody?
Keyshawn, you've never had to worry about this, but I have. When you're unemployed and nobody is calling you on the phone, you will take a job anywhere. And that's where Les Miles was. I mean, and I say this I like Les Miles, but I mean, Les Miles was not exactly a candidate for Monday Night Football. I mean, he's not that funny. He's not that personable. And, he got that job and he took it. It pays good money, and he had no other options. I mean, none.
When, Paul, you think about everything that's happened so far this season, the guy that kind of stands out to me, the guy I think everybody was looking forward to seeing was Spencer Rattler of Oklahoma, continuing the great tradition of Oklahoma quarterbacks in recent vintage, from Lincoln Riley, from Baker Mayfield, to Kyler Murray, to Jalen Hurts, and now Spencer Rattler. Besides having an all-time great name, what have you seen from him early?
No. I mean, he just looks like that quintessential Oklahoma quarterback, and you laugh about the name Zubin, but when you're developing Heisman Trophy candidates, a name does matter. Baker Mayfield was a great name. Kyler Murray was a great name. Spencer Rattler may have one of the greatest college football QB names of all time, and really after one game, he is in the Heisman race. I know that sounds crazy because we don't even know who some of the schools. We don't know whether Ohio State is even going to be eligible this year with Justin Fields. But that's the beauty of having Lincoln Riley as your coach. He is the preeminent offensive mind.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.